Hello everyone, it's Denise from Something Beautiful Handcrafts, and you are looking at a doll I just got. So she was listed on Mercari as a Truly Me, but as you can see, this is so obviously Ruthie. I had some tiny doubts when I got her, but I mean, she looked like Ruthie. Couldn't really tell from her hair. And so she just came today. So, unlike my usual selection of dolls, she looks basically spotless as far as I can tell. Now, here is the only thing wrong. Look at those eyes. The only thing wrong is her hair. It's been chopped. And it wasn't listed in the listing as being chopped. I don't think the lady, actually, I'm very certain she really didn't have any idea. So if you see that, that is chopped. So I haven't figured out what I'm going to do about that yet. Only paid like $30 for her. So it's possible that in the future I'll send her in and get a new head. Maybe. If you're not familiar with how that works, the American Girl has a doll hospital and new heads are about $40. So there's always a balancing out depending on what doll it is, whether or not I should get a new head or a new wigs. It's sometimes really hard to find exact wigs if you want the doll to look exactly the way they're supposed to look. So that was pretty much impossible for Kanani. I did get a second wig for the first Kanani, but it wasn't in all that great shape either because that's just the way it is with Kanani's wigs. So I took apart that wig and used it to bolster the one I had. The second Kanani, I sent her to the doll hospital and got a whole new head, but she also needed new eyes because they were pretty badly stuck and I couldn't get them out in the adjust mold. So in this case, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this doll except for this chunk of hair that's cut right here. So sending her to the doll hospital is pretty low on my priority. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and roll it and curl it and see how it turns out. And I could probably live with her for quite some time without getting a new wig. As you can see from over here, that's my PC Sam, and well, you can see. So well, let me just point out that I put this wig on wrong, so it should cover her eyebrows, but I'm talking about the back hair, which is obviously cut. And I've never replaced that. I actually sold the replacement doll that I bought to re-wig her. So let me go ahead and put the rollers in. We'll see how this goes. So completely, totally ignore all of the other dolls back there. Ruthie came while I was making the All My Classic Mold videos. And so I wasn't putting them away. All right, so here we go with the big rollers. And I'm just going to take them out. The first time I tried rolling the individual layers, I didn't really like how it turned out. So, and I steamed it, and it wasn't really my favorite. So, put the big rollers in. And this was just overnight. See if I can get her to stand up. And so, I don't think you can tell. Well, of course you can't tell, but I can tell. One of the ways to be able to tell, though, that this hair has been cut is if you know anything about Ruthie, and you can see that we're not really getting the fullness and volume of curls because the pieces up here are cut. But I figured I had to do it and see what happened before I decided how I felt about it. And last one. So that's not too bad. It doesn't really have the fullness that it should have. As you can see, look how that is just cut and flipped up in the air instead of laying the way it's supposed to. Her front is fine. You can't really tell from the front. There are a few pieces that weren't cut in. Oh. So I think all in all, I can get her to stand. Okay, so just from looking at her at front, I don't think it's too noticeable. What you notice is that there's a reduction in volume of hair. But other than that, it doesn't quite look so bad. So I think I'll probably just deal with this for a while until I decide I'm going to send her in. Or if somebody comes up with another Ruthie wig, there's a really cute one, the Kiki, and I think that's Bee Beauty, but it's way lighter than her hair. And I really would like to have her hair color or as close as possible. Then there's another one by, I think it might be Dallas Doll Co. that is, it looks kind of like Ruthie. It's a little longer and it's like much darker. Now I was really tempted to get that too, but like I said, especially when it comes to historical, I'm not into like changing them in any way. I kind of buy dolls because I like them pretty much just the way they are. At some point, I might customize someone again. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But I want Ruthie because she looks the way she is. So if I fix her, I want her to look the way she's supposed to look. That's pretty much how it goes. So there's my little quick video on fixing Ruthie. If you have any questions, you can always leave it in the comments. And hey, if you're out there and you have a Ruthie wig or a 41 wig, I would really appreciate it if you would send me an Instagram message so I can get that wig. Thanks a lot, guys. Notice anything different? Okay, so what had happened was I was on Facebook going through the American Girl Doll groups I belong to, and there was someone who had just re-wigged their Ruthie and turned her into a boy. And so, the thing about those groups is some of them are not buy-sell groups. Sometimes it's hard to remember, sometimes it's not. But at any rate, I asked, well, what did you do with the wig? And she's like, well, I just put it in a box. And I'm like, well, will you sell it? And so I got a Ruthie wig, and I put the other Ruthie wig on a miscellaneous Josefina medium mold, which is something I may or may not discuss later on in a different video, depends on what happens to her. But once I have this Ruthie wig in hand, it's so obvious that the Ruthie wig that I have has definitely been cut. And you know what? It also occurred to me too that Ruthie and Rebecca basically share the same wig in different colors. So that's an interesting thought. At any rate, this wig is kind of crispy, like someone used hair product on it. And so I'm going to go ahead, roll it up, take it off, and put it in a hot dip really quick. I know someone from one of my previous videos, I think it was the unboxing video with the group from Christmas, recommended that I boil wash. Now, I had known about boil wash for some time, which is how I fixed number 46's hair last June. But it was not something I really got into just because at that point I didn't really need to do that yet. I didn't have any doll's hair that was as bad as the Isabel and McKenna that had came out of that box. So I didn't really need to boil wash. But what I did, and this comes from years of wearing ponytails and extensions and things like that, is that I've discovered that you don't actually need to boil the water. It doesn't need to be that hot. Basically, depending on what your tap is turned up to, our tap is maybe 90 or something. Our tap is hot enough to scald, but we don't have any children here, so this is not a problem. But our tap is hot enough to scald. So in general, the water I get out of the tap is hot enough to do whatever I need to do, for the most part, to most dolls' hair. And I find that if the water needs to be hotter than the scalding that comes out of the tap, 9 times out of 10, this is a procedure that's going to be best done with the flat iron. So in this case with Ruthie, I'm just going to roll, and I'm going to go ahead and dip this in some really, really hot tap water, and that will rinse out whatever's in her hair and neaten the curls. And I found the same kind of crispiness in number 4's hair, so I feel like someone gelled it down for some reason, which is not a terrible thing. Like I said, I've done it plenty times before with hair pieces and things like that. And those are all Kanekalon, which is, I think, how you say that, which is what the wigs are made of. So it shouldn't be a problem. All right, anyway, rambling. So she looks great. Right now, she's in one of the spring dresses I made, which actually fits just fine for that era. And she matches Kit perfectly. So you'll be seeing her in more pictures later on. I definitely am going to need to tighten her limbs, at least her legs anyway. But that's a really quick procedure, and I'm sure you've seen that like a couple hundred times in a couple hundred videos, so I won't bother you with that one. All right, anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day.